Alright, moving to the inside. I've done a little bit of electrical on the outside, but I want to finish taking all the wires out and disabling everything right now as far as electrical. So I'm going to go through and run good wire and run my own stuff to get this engine broke in, started up and broke in, right? The connection in here, that's because these things just they're old. Anything, it doesn't matter which one it is, anything 60s, 70s, that electrical sucks on it. So that's why a lot of this has been bypassed. This truck's never been restored, so this is the first time. So we see this stuff, you know, it's been bypassed and gone down in there. We got this bypassed right here, the main power coming in. So that's why I'm disabling everything, unhooking everything. Just because it's so old and rotten, it's all going to be looked at and sections of it replaced, and sometimes whole systems replaced. Okay, this is one of the things that you'll see on pretty much all these older vehicles is this is straight from the battery right here going into this little board to the amp gauge, because it had amp gauges, not voltmeters. And this is a direct through amp gauge, not an inductive style. And then this went out, and actually the charging system went through, you know, from the alternator went all the way up through here and back out, so you can tell when you're charging, because it's an inline gauge. But that's kind of what we got. I'm going to get this out, and then we can look further in here on this truck. So there's a lot of little things that's been replaced over the years. You can see right here. I probably got too much light. The fan switch, you know, there's been a rotary switch put in there because it's supposed to be a little ratcheting type switch with the little spots on there. So that's already failed on it as well. So there's a lot of little things that have to be replaced. Like I said, this thing's just been somewhat maintained as a farm truck over the years and repaired. It hasn't ever been restored. That's a lovely thing right up there. All those glass fuses in there. So yeah, I get to work on that. But that's what it looks like on the inside. Alright, working on the work truck, and I pulled the heater, the little spring resistor thing in the heater out of there, right? And that's just come off, so you can see some tape on there, so it's broke before that Bakelite. And I got to looking at it, and ooh, that heater works good. Works so good it melts the connectors. Okay, almost done pulling the harness. Got everything from there back out. Most everything is disconnected. I'm cruising down here, and I just wanted to show this connector here. It's broke because when I went to pull it apart, it's just brittle. It just is crumbling in my hand. It's beyond brittle. It's just rotten. Look at that. So all I have, I think, left is to take the main column wires in here and disconnect those. So this is spliced in right here, and it's probably because that original connector broke, and it's, you know, here. Oh, there it is. See, look at that. There's that one. It just crumbles. So that's probably what happened to that other one. That's what spliced in like that. Not saying that's the right wood to splice it in, but that's some things you have to run into. So those are the kind of things I want to do, is kind of do a little bit better on that when we put this together. Alright, so beyond that, I have the main connection right here. It looks like, I don't think I've ever had one of these out, but it looks like a little spring clip right here that if I pinch that in, there's 4 of them, then it should push right out. That's what it looks like. And then the harness that come out, and then I have this harness here, the rest of the chassis harness, to go ahead and pull out as well. And that'll go into a little bin somewhere, and whenever I work on one of these style trucks again, then I'll have a harness I can go to. Not saying that's going to be a good replacement harness, but there's probably some goodies on this harness I can use, or just use it for reference and build a new one. Out. And of course, once you get something like this out, you figure out the tricks. So I couldn't figure out, this is the door side right here, all the door stuff with two of the grommets in there. So I went ahead and just slit the grommets and got them off so I could snake it out. Now that I have it out, there's a disconnect right here. And this is the other side of the door, right, where that disconnect was. So I just could have disconnected that, disconnect that, and then it'd snake out. Alright, let's look at the body side. Maybe it'll make a little more sense. So what we're talking about is right here. Because there's a hole there, right? Where one of the grommets was. There's a hole there for the other grommet. Right there. So I think what they did, they put the harness right there, snaked one side over there, snaked one side over there, all the way up and in to that hole. I think you can see it, that hole right here. Yeah, that hole right there, and then it comes all the way out. So I had that in there and I was like, well, there's no way all that other stuff is going to fit through all these holes, so I couldn't quite figure out how to get it out. But those little grommet things, they're still in good condition. I can go in and use the, put them back on and use the gorilla knot to get those in. So now that I know how that comes out. And actually this part of the harness is in real good condition. I don't see anything wrong with it. I might untape it, just do a double check. This is the part that's in bad condition over here. Pretty much everything on this is maybe grab a connector if it's not rotted, and that's about it. It's just nasty, right? See all the ugliness that they did there. And this is all rusted in here and everything. So, yeah, that's a technology I like to replace whenever I come across that. Alright, like I said, harness is out, so I get to figure out, I mean, there's some extra stuff like this right here I can take out, and I have the engine side of the harness come out. Only one thing left on it, and that is the parts going to the back. I think a lot of this came out already. Either it was taped up or something. So I think I only have one little bundle right here. Actually, one little wire right here is holding that on. I'm not going to cut that unless I have to. I'm going to come in and just pull everything out. So all the wiring will be out of this truck when I'm done. And then I can start, look at that, and use that as a base to build the new harness. However, right now all I need is something to start the truck up and move it around the yard. That's the immediate goal, and then build off that. I'm over here working on this truck, you know, taking some of the things out, and you know, sitting there thinking, you know, some of this stuff in here, when I was growing up, this is the kind of vehicles that we had. And you know, trucks just like this, I rode around in a lot. And one of the cool little features about this truck that I really like is this little shelf right here that opens up where the glove box and fuse box is. This right here, we use that a whole lot. I mean, we'd go out to, you know, like Sonic, and we go out there and guess what we put here, you know? There'd be 4 of us in the truck a lot of times. And that's where we put our burgers and drinks and all that kind of stuff. 4 people sitting up front up in here, right? So, yeah, that's a little nostalgia thing. There's little features that the new vehicles just don't have. You fit 2 people up front and that's it. And you don't have any place to put your burger, you know. You just sit there and set it in your lap, right? Even got curved dashes so you can't put them up there, right? But anyways, yeah, this is good old school type things where people, you know, use their vehicle. Well, it's just a different time, a different method right there. Now, instead of having this right here in between, you know, in between the steering wheel and here, they, you know, how big of a screen can you put on there? And you add so many gadgets and gizmos and, you know, all that. You know, all those gadgets and gizmos and stuff. Add so many of those and your automatic butt wipers and all that on the screen and hope that nothing electrical ever goes wrong or programming goes weird, because, you know, programs never glitch, right? So yeah, I think I could do it without some of that stuff. But there's just a different era in here, and maybe it's because I grew up with it. That's why I'm drawn to the cool little things, the way this truck's laid out, and cool little things that I have going on there.